Okay, so this is going to be a review of Wonder Woman, and also, along with the review, it's going to be what I think is the only thing that Warner Brothers can do to make a good Wonder Woman 2 movie, and what I think they should do with villains like the Cheetah. Do I think the Cheetah should be in Wonder Woman 2? And so on. So, welcome to With Enough Prep Time. I'm your host, the Nerd Man. And first of all, let's talk about a fantastic movie I watched recently called Wonder Woman. Now, in terms of the film itself, I'll say this. I think it is, of the mainstream superheroes, I'm not including Watchmen, I'm not including Sin City, I'm not including, I actually think it is better than Kick-Ass, but although that's a very, very good movie itself, I'm just talking about mainstream villains, superheroes. We're talking Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, the X-Men, those kind of guys, Ant-Man, even though he's like B-list, but he's still mainstream. Wonder Woman, for me, going into that film was shocking. I mean, I think the first time I went in and I saw it, I thought it was good, but I was a little bit confused, especially by that third act. Next time I saw it, I thought, wow, this is an all-turd movie, and I think it deserves a Best Picture nomination come the Oscars. Now, am I saying that it is the because you've never had a real comic book film movie be nominated for Best Picture in the Oscars? Now, am I saying that Wonder Woman should be the first, and that Wonder Woman is deserving of it over, Dark Knight or Batman Begins or, the Superman one? Absolutely not. That is not what I'm saying. If I was to say Wonder Woman versus The Dark Knight, which one deserves more of an Oscar, I'd say by a very, very, very slim margin, The Dark Knight. But Wonder Woman, when you go and watch it, and you watch it again, it just gets better. You see more subtleties, you see more nuances, and you see that this is a film with real stakes, and it's a film with real heart. What it reminds me of is if Casablanca and League of Their Own were melded into one to become a superhero movie. It's got that kind of heart to it, and you feel the emotions of the characters, and you feel the growth of Diana. People don't notice the nuance and subtlety, and this is going to be a spoiler-heavy review. People don't notice the subtlety of the growth and development of the character, because when she leaves the island, and this is always what I said, I wrote a script for Wonder Woman myself, which I'm gonna do a video on, because I'm not gonna say anything now because I don't want to make this review about that. But I'll say this. I always said, and this is what Warner Brothers definitely got right, the story of Wonder Woman is not about this warrior woman, and it's not about this authoritative character who comes straight out the gate as like some big feminist, empowering kind of hero. The story of Wonder Woman is the story of a girl from a provincial town who wants to go into the world and make it a better place. And they captured that so well. This Wonder Woman was a girl. When she left, she was a child. She had a naive childlike sensibility about her. She judged people straight off the bat. Sometimes she was, it was right what she was saying as her judgment, but some other times she was wrong. When she was judging the generals in the scene where she's, she's coming in to, or Steve Trevor comes in to give the Dr. Poison's notebook to the generals. She's obviously, rightly so, angered by the generals' kind of ambivalence to the lives of the soldiers that they send into the trenches. And she gets angry, and she judges people very, very quickly, and she doesn't see the complexities of life. Things are very, very black and white for her. And it was a rousing moment, when she said, where I come from, generals don't, let people go and just send soldiers off to war. They fight with their soldiers. They fight alongside, and they're front and center with their soldiers. I thought it was a fantastic moment of, because it really made that World War I setting, relevant to what's going on now, even in wars right now. So it was very, very good, that moment. But you notice that later on, she goes back into that naivety and seeing things in black and white. But she's wrong, she judges the men. She judges Saeed's character and the Scottish guy as being, kind of useless. But whereas they're real heroes in the end, because they don't have powers, they don't have anything. They just have a good sense about them. They have a certain amount of honor to them. And they just need an inspiring kind of symbol to inspire them to kind of not be as cynical as the world has made them. So that was great. Every character learned and grew. I thought it was a really, really great. I think it's got one of the best moments in I'd say in superhero history and cinematic history, which is that moment where she jumps out of the into no man's land, and just like a complete badass, deflecting the bullets. And I saw people who were nearly in tears. It was just a great cinematic moment, and I hope and I want to say this too about the DCEU, because my review, because this isn't really a review for the Wonder Woman movie. I just want to say I think it's fantastic, because it's been out for weeks now, and I wanted to reflect on it. But this is more about something else that I wanted to address, which is what I think should be happening with the Wonder Woman 2 movie, and why I think I am qualified to say, this is really the way that they can make the Dark Knight of Wonder Woman if they go in the right direction, or they could go in the wrong direction, and I think it will be pretty bad if they do, and it's going to ruin what is a very, very promising franchise. So I just wanted to make this video to save Wonder Woman, but anyway, in terms of the film itself, I think it's a triumph. I think that it's at least in the top 10 comic book movies of all time. If I was to rank the DCEU movies, I would say I like Batman vs Superman a lot. I hate Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel is the worst of them. A lot of people disagree, but I think Man of Steel is terrible. Where would I rank? I think this is easily the I think it just punches its weight above. It just punches its weight above Batman v Superman. And so I would say it's the #1 movie in the DCU. Batman v Superman second, Suicide Squad third, and very, very close, these three. I think these three are great movies, and not only just great movies, but I think they establish something about the DC cinematic universe. These are films. These aren't toy commercials like Marvel movies. These are films with authors' visions, with the visual aspect, the visual storytelling, and the visual kind of element of the cinematography of these movies. Even it just has a level of class that, I'm sorry, unfortunately, most of the Marvel movies do not have. So in my opinion, I think they've done three really, really good and different movies. Like Wonder Woman has its very, very different vibe to Suicide Squad to Batman v Superman, and I think Man of Steel is the most like a Marvel movie. It's like a cross between a Marvel movie and the worst of the Dark Knight trilogy, Dark Knight Rises. It's like a mesh between those two, and it's a horrible, horrible movie. I don't know why people try and defend it. I think it's terrible. Now, problems with Wonder Woman, why it's not got a higher mark for me. I think the problem with Wonder Woman, and they need to change this about the second movie. Really, really badly, they need to change this about the second movie. The slow motion is terrible. I thought the villains, Ares was almost a badass villain, and they ruined it. He was really, really almost, and they need to, if Ares is not dead in this cinematic universe, it just appears he's dead, but he's actually not dead. They need to recast David Thewlis. They can explain it. They can say Ares can change form. They need to recast David Thewlis. He's a great, great actor, but he is not Ares, and it was a miscasting, and it was all to do with this twist they had at the end, and the twist wasn't really worth it. I thought it was telegraphed from the very beginning that David Thewlis was going to be Ares. So there was no point in, they might as well have got a good actor who would fit that role and got them to become Ares. I thought that was terrible. So they need to do away with the slow motion. They need to, like, when they're making villains, I mean, they wasted Dr. Poison. They were good villains. They were good ideas. People liked them visually. Watching it in the, when people watched it in the trailers. So there was no need to make, any of the characters a lame villain. Now, I understand they were trying to ape the Wonder Woman TV series, make Wonder Woman serious, make Steve Trevor serious, but, essentially, in the end, the villains are a bit like kind of cheeseball or whatever, and they were trying to do a homage to the Superman 1 movie. Fine, okay, so the villains were a bit cheesy, but couldn't they have made Ares at least serious? I got it. Like, it was almost, I even chuckled a bit when the Dr. Poison lady and the general put the gas in the room and let the German generals die. But it was just, I think they could have been good villains. They could have been really, really good, memorable villains. Dr. Poison, there's no reason for her not to be a good villain. And I think they just messed it up, to be honest. And I think the third act, where Ares came, I think it was a budgetary issue. The CGI wasn't up to scratch. Ares is not Dr. Thewlis and doesn't have a weird moustache underneath his thing. I mean, it took too much off the movie. I mean, it really did. You've got this great movie, and then you just ruin it with these cheesy points. And I don't know why they did it. Those villains had every right to be as good and as menacing. I know they wanted to focus on Wonder Woman, but you do not waste Ares. You don't waste Ares. Hopefully he'll be back. Hopefully a different actor, and they'll take him a little bit more seriously, because Ares should be a great villain in the Wonder Woman mythos. Anyway, apart from that, I thought, so the slow motion, the villains, had a bit of a problem. What else did I think they needed to change? There wasn't much that wasn't good. I think there were little bits and pieces where it was just a little corny at times. But I liked that. I liked the heart of that. I think they were going after the Superman one and to have that effect. One thing I'd say to Patty Jenkins is a matter of real urgency in terms of making the next movie, and in terms of, you know, in terms of, you know, the next movie being more successful. Because in a way, I think this film has done well because it's become an event. You know, Wonder Woman, female superhero, females want to support it, all of that kind of thing, people going multiple times. That might wear off by the second movie, that kind of initial charm and goodwill, if that second movie isn't epic. It has to be epic. You need to lose the cheesiness, you need to lose, because I think critics are going to be real with you. You know, some critics may have said that third act ruined the movie. I think they would have been being very harsh, but some of them might have said, if they were that way inclined, that third act and the villains ruined the movie. Okay, so you need to, I think this Wonder Woman needs to be more serious. First of all, you know, where are you going to sell it? Because, you know, the fun thing about the character you created in this origin myth of Wonder Woman, the fun thing about her is she was a fish out of water. If she's now been here for 100 years, you know, if you said it now, she's got more experience in this world than any of the other rest of the superheroes. Flash, Superman, all of them. She literally knows this world better than them. So she's no longer a foreigner or an alien. And I think if you had have said it in the modern day, and, you know, part 2 still could have been her rediscovering the world, then it might have been an interesting thing. But, you know, because you could have had the first 2 movies with her still being a fish out of water, and then the third one, you know, the climactic battle with the monster or whatever. But since you haven't done that, and you're going to set it 100 years in the future, Diana's got to be a real character, and she's going to be someone engaging, and the villains have to be engaging. So in part 2 of this video, I am going to do a response to rumors about Wonder Woman 2 being set in the Cold War, Cheetah being the villain, and all of this, because I think there is only one villain that should be in Wonder Woman 2, and I do think Cheetah and other villains from Wonder Woman should be in the DCEU universe, and I'm going to tell you how I would establish it. And the reason I'm going to tell you why I would establish it, and the authority that I have, I will also explain why I think I am very well qualified to be the person to come up with well, not come up with, but I'm qualified in my thinking that this is the story that needs to be told about Wonder Woman. And this story will have everyone in the audience is crying. You need to keep that sense, because Wonder Woman's, you don't, and this is my final point in this video, don't follow the path of Superman 1, because Superman 2, if you remember, didn't make as much money as Superman 1. So if you're thinking, oh, we're going to keep with this goofball, no. Superman 2 did not make as much money. You need to follow the path of the Dark Knight. That is that is the trilogy that you need to be focused on, not the Superman movies. Okay, Superman 2 didn't make as much money because People had already got the sense, oh, this guy's a nice guy, he's a bit of a hero and all of this kind of stuff. And it was a great movie, but it didn't. The charm wore off, and the charm can wear off Wonder Woman very, very easily if you don't write her properly. If she's just some OP character, she will go the same direction as Superman, and in 5 years people will be saying Wonder Woman's unrelatable because she's too powerful. You need to make a serious contender to Dark Knight. Okay? So I'll be talking about that in part 2.